Have you ever noticed how rich people play a completely different game when it comes to money? It's like they're walking through life on cheat codes while everyone else is out here trying to beat the final boss with literally a broken joystick and student debt? But it's not luck. It's not an accident. And no, they're not all evil lizard billionaires sipping money martinis. Honestly, the truth is, rich people follow a set of unspoken money laws that 99% of the population never learns. And if you don't know the rules of the game, you're the one being played. So in this video, I'm pulling back the velvet curtain and showing you exactly how the rich protect, multiply, and pass down their wealth without lifting a finger more than necessary. And here's the kicker. Once you understand these money laws, you'll never think about money the same way again. This video might just be a life-changing experience for you, so let's jump right into it. Law number 10, pay yourself first, then hide the rest. First of all, when most people get paid, what do? They pay the rent, the bills, buy stuff on Amazon they forgot about 10 minutes later, and then, maybe, save whatever scraps are left. Rich people, they do the opposite. They treat saving and investing like a non-negotiable bill. Before they pay the government, Netflix, or even Starbucks, they pay themselves first. Then, they hide the money. Not under a mattress, but in investments, LLCs, tax shelters, and appreciating assets that grow in the background. Why? Because money in your checking account is just temptation-wearing cologne. They make their wealth hard to spend. That's the secret. So they protect their money up front, but how do they make sure it grows even when they're not grinding? That brings us to the next law. Law number 9, make money while you sleep, or you'll work until you die. Okay, let's get one thing straight. Rich people hate the 9 to 5 even more than you do, but they don't escape it by hustling harder. They escape it by making their money hustle for them. Let me paint a picture so you clearly understand. It's 3:47 a.m. You're asleep, snoring, drooling on your pillow like a financial delinquent. And somewhere, halfway across the world, a stranger just clicked buy now on your digital course. Bang! $47 in your pocket. You didn't even lift a finger. Now that is money working for you. Meanwhile, most people wake up to an alarm clock, rush to a job they hate, and spend all day working to make someone else rich. Here's the harsh truth. If you only make money when you're awake, you'll be stuck in the grind until your back gives out and your LinkedIn says, retired or expired. Rich people figured this out early, and if you've been following me for a while, you already know. They don't just work for money, they build systems that make money work for them. Here's how. They write books once and collect royalties forever. They buy dividend stocks that pay them every quarter like a loyal financial puppy. They own real estate that deposits rent into their account, whether they're in Bali or bed. Even a simple example, like creating a YouTube channel, hey, like this one, can turn content into cash flow long after the upload button is clicked. And before you say, yeah, but I'm not rich, I can't do that yet, let me hit you with this. You don't need millions, you need leverage. Start with one passive income stream. Start small, start messy. Whether it's a $10 ebook, an affiliate link, or a side hustle that scales, just start. Because the second your money starts working while you sleep, you're free. Even if it's just $2 at first. Because if you can make $2 without working, you can make $2,000. And once that flips in your brain, you'll never see your time the same way again. And speaking of keeping more of that hard-earned passive income, wait until you see how the rich play the tax game like it's Monopoly on steroids. Law number 8, taxes are a game. Rich people know the rules. Now, this one might sting, but it's something you need to take note of. The average person thinks taxes are just a part of life. Rich people treat taxes like a competitive sport. Let me hit you with a mind twist. Warren Buffett pays a lower tax rate than his secretary. Let that sink in. Now, does that mean he's doing something shady? Nope. It means he understands the rules, and most people don't even know the game is being played. Here's the hard truth. The tax code wasn't written to punish the rich. It was written by the rich, for people who think like them. Most folks are playing checkers. Rich people? They're playing chess with the IRS. Let's break it down. Middle-class employee gets taxed before they even touch their paycheck. Gross income, taxes. Whatever's left is yours. Wealthy entrepreneur makes money, spends money through their business, then gets taxed on what's left. Example, if a middle-class employee takes a client to lunch, it's just lunch. If a rich business owner does it, it's a tax-deductible business expense. Same sandwich, different outcome. The wealthy use depreciation on real estate to wipe out income on paper, limited liability companies and S corporations to lower self-employment taxes, Roth IRAs, solo 401ks, donor-advised funds. Tools most people never hear about until it's too late. And while most people are bragging about their $4,000 tax refund, rich people are hiring CPAs to strategically pay the least amount legally required. Here's what nobody tells you. You don't need to be a millionaire to use these tools. You just need to start thinking like one. Even something as basic as tracking your side hustle expenses or starting an LLC could change your entire tax situation. The rich don't avoid taxes by accident. They plan for it months in advance because they know every dollar saved in taxes is another soldier marching toward more wealth. By the way, I just want to say that if you're serious about building life-changing wealth, go back and watch our Financial Freedom series to fully understand. We've created step-by-step videos to help you go from middle class to financially untouchable. As always, make sure to subscribe and join the channel to always stay updated. Okay, so now that we've covered how to keep more money away from the tax man, the question is, what do you do with it? If you're smart, you don't stash it under a mattress. You learn how to use debt to multiply it. Law number 7, debt isn't evil. It's a weapon. Let me guess, you were probably told debt is bad. Pay it off, cut up your credit cards. But let's settle this once and for all. Debt is not the enemy. Bad debt is. And here's the wild part. Rich people love debt. They flirt with it, take it out to dinner, maybe even introduce it to their CPA, because unlike most people, they don't use debt to buy stuff. They use it to buy freedom. Let's compare. Middle class. I took out a $40,000 loan to buy a new BMW. It even has heated cup holders. Rich person. I used $40,000 in borrowed money to buy a rental property that cash flows $600 a month and appreciates in value. Same debt, completely different destiny. Here's why the rich treat debt like a business partner. They use it to buy assets, not furniture, not fancy cars, not a 75-inch TV on Black Friday. They borrow to buy real estate, businesses, equipment, stuff that puts money back into their pocket. They let inflation work for them. Inflation eats away at the value of debt over time. So that $500,000 loan they took out today, in 10 years it feels like $350,000, but the property they bought with it, now worth $700,000. Boom. They protect their cash flow. Debt lets them scale without draining their bank account. It's like pressing fast forward on wealth without sacrificing liquidity. Now let's address the obvious fear. But what if I go into debt and everything collapses? That's what happens when you use debt for consumption, not creation. Buying an iPhone on credit equals consumption. Buying a camera on credit to start a YouTube channel equals creation. Big difference. And the rich, they manage the risk. They build buffers. They stress test. They don't max out credit cards chasing dopamine. They use debt like a scalpel, not a chainsaw. Here's a quick real-world story. A wealthy investor I met once told me, I never buy properties with my own money. I borrow at 4%, invested in real estate earning 12%, and pocket the spread. The bank takes the risk. I take the return. That, my friend, is playing the money game at an elite level. So now they're borrowing money like a boss. But what are they buying with it? Spoiler alert, not liabilities. Let's talk about assets and why they're the real MVP. Law number 6, assets feed you. Liabilities eat you alive. Here's a brutal truth. Most people go broke trying to look rich. Rich people get richer by buying stuff that looks boring but pays forever. You know what the middle class calls an asset? Their car, their house, their brand new $1,400 iPhone with 3 cameras they use to scroll TikTok. Sorry to break it to you, but if it doesn't put money into your pocket month after month, it's not an asset. It's a liability dressed in Gucci. Let's clear it up. Once and for all, assets equals income generating. Stocks, rental properties, digital products, businesses, royalties, dividends. They feed you. Liabilities equals income draining. Your car loan, your mortgage, your 6th subscription to a streaming service you forgot existed. They eat you alive. Here's how the rich think differently. Middle class. I want the new Tesla. I'll finance it. Rich person. I'll buy a rental property. Once it cash flows enough to cover the Tesla payment, then I'll get the Tesla, and it'll pay for itself. That's the game. They buy assets first. Let the assets pay for the luxuries. Most people do it backwards. They buy the luxury first. and wonder why they're drowning in bills with no way out. Let's take a real-world example. Sarah makes $5,000 a month. She could spend $3,000 a month on a flashy apartment and lease a BMW. Or she could live modestly, use $2,000 a month to invest in dividend stocks and a cash-flowing rental. Fast forward 5 years, one Sarah is stressed out, paycheck to paycheck. The other, financially free, sipping iced coffee while her money multiplies in the background. Same income, different outcome. Why? Assets versus liabilities. And you know what's funny? The rich don't even care about nice things until the assets are already covering it. Because when your assets are feeding you, you're not working for your lifestyle. Your lifestyle is working for you. But don't get it twisted. Just because the rich can buy the flashy stuff doesn't mean they do. In fact, what they avoid says more than what they flaunt. Let's talk about stealth, silence, and serious financial power. Law number 5, don't flash. Stay quiet, move powerfully. Okay, let's play a game. Spot the millionaire. Option A, the guy in the mall flexing a gold Rolex, designer sneakers, and a rented Lamborghini parked at an angle for the gram. Option B, the quiet dude in the corner wearing a black hoodie, driving a 2012 Toyota Corolla, sipping black coffee, and minding his business. Spoiler alert, it's option B every single time. Here's what rich people know. Real money whispers. Fake wealth screams for attention. Because the minute you start flashing your cash, you attract exactly the things you don't want. Jealousy, unwanted opinions, opportunists, and the IRS knocking like, "Hey big spender, mind if we take a look?" Stealth wealth isn't a trend. It's a strategy. It's what happens when you prioritize freedom over flexing, peace over performance, legacy over likes. Take Warren Buffett, worth over $100 billion, still lives in the same modest house he bought in 1958. Mark Zuckerberg wears the same $8 gray t-shirt every day like he's in a cartoon. These guys could buy your city. But they're not posting it on Instagram. Why? Because they understand money isn't about appearances. It's about options. The richest people I've ever met don't brag, don't flaunt, don't care if you know how rich they are. They've got quiet confidence because their bank accounts do the talking. And here's the best part. When you stop trying to look rich, you free up more money to actually become rich. No more impressing people who don't matter. No more buying liabilities just to keep up appearances. Just smart, low-key moves that compound into financial freedom. Because the ultimate power move. Walking into any room knowing you can buy the whole building and choosing not to say a word. Now, speaking of power moves, let's talk about the one thing the rich guard more fiercely than their money. Their time. Because they don't just invest in assets, they invest in hours. Law number 4, time greater than money. That's why they buy time. Let me ask you something dead serious, and I want you to think for a second. Would you rather have $10,000 in your bank account or 10 hours of your life back every week for the next 10 years? Because here's what rich people know that most people never figure out. Money is renewable. Time is not. You can lose every dollar and earn it back. But that hour you just spent stuck in traffic listening to a podcast you didn't even like, gone forever. That's why wealthy people treat time like oxygen. Invisible, essential, and not to be wasted. So what do? They buy their time back, ruthlessly. They hire assistants to manage the details. They outsource chores they could do themselves but shouldn't. They pay a premium for faster service, priority boarding, express everything. And no, it's not because they're lazy. It's because their brain is worth more thinking than doing. Let me give you a real-world breakdown. I'm gonna spend the weekend mowing the lawn and deep cleaning the garage. Rich person. I just hired someone to do that. I'll spend that time mapping out a new business strategy that could earn me $50,000 next quarter. Same weekend, very different ROI. This is where the middle class gets stuck. They'll spend 3 hours to save $15. Rich people spend $15 to save 3 hours because they understand leverage. The time they buy back becomes creative time, strategic time, family time, thinking time, and all of that turns into more value, more peace, and, surprise, more money. Even if you're not wealthy yet, this applies to you too. Ask yourself, what's something I can do but shouldn't? What task is stealing time that I could buy back cheap? Start small, order groceries online, use a productivity app, automate your bills. Say no to pointless meetings, because the richest version of you doesn't have time for distractions. They're busy building freedom. So now that they've bought back their time, what do rich people do with it? Simple. They don't just earn income, They own the machine that creates it. Let's talk about ownership, control, and why real power is invisible. Law number 3. Ownership is everything. Control is king. Now I got a question for you. Would you rather make $500,000 working for someone else or own the rights to an asset that prints $5,000 a month for life? The rich don't chase income. They chase ownership. They own stocks. They own intellectual property. They own businesses, land, licenses, royalties, you name it. Ownership gives you control. Control gives you leverage. Leverage gives you freedom. The poor work for money. The rich make money work for them. But the wealthy own the system. Now, speaking of systems, rich people don't rely on just one. They know putting all your eggs in one basket is a recipe for scrambled finances. Law number 2, never rely on a single stream of income. One job, one paycheck, one boss. That's financial Russian roulette. The average millionaire, they've got 7 streams of income, at least. And it's not about chasing shiny objects. It's about building a financial safety net that's wide, deep, and unshakable. Here's what a rich person's income tree might look like. Dividend-paying stocks, rental income, online business, royalties from content, consulting, brand deals, angel investments. The point is, if one dries up, they don't panic. They pivot. You don't need all 7 today, but start planting those seeds now, and your future self will thank you. So what ties all of this together? One final money law that's boring on the surface, but legendary in execution. Law number 1, wealth is built in decades, not days. You know those viral "How I Made $100,000 in 30 Days" videos? Yeah. Most of them forget to mention the 10 years of failure, learning, and near bankruptcy it took to get there. The truth? Wealth moves slow until it moves fast. Rich people are obsessed with long-term thinking. They delay gratification, reinvest profits, ignore trends, and focus on fundamentals. Think in decades, not days, because they know compound interest, business momentum, and reputation all take time. So while the masses chase get rich quick, the rich are playing stay rich forever. And that's the real game. The rich aren't special. They're not born knowing these things. They just learned the rules and started playing a better game. And if this video made you think differently about money, even just 1% differently, then you're already ahead of 99% of people. Comment the words, "I will be wealthy," so I know you're serious about this. Not just for me, but for you, because saying it out loud makes it real. In fact, if you want to learn exactly how to grow your wealth and live off your investments, we've created an entire video breaking it down step by step. Just click the video on the screen now, and we'll see you there.